Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. How are you all? Are you all having a lovely day? Today I'm coming to you with some books that I've recently received in the month of August. I've got some books here that I'm very, very excited about, including this one that I'm stroking now. I'm very excited about all of these books. So I will get straight into it as I've got about 9 books here to show you that I'm excited about. The first one that I was stroking earlier, it's just so tactile and nice to touch. It's one that I'm super duper pumped about, and it is Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss. Sarah Moss is one of my favourite authors. She's written 2 books, 2 of my favourite books ever. Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland, or Strangers in Iceland, Names for the Sea, which is a non-fiction account of when Sarah was living in Iceland. Oh my god, I love it. I'm going to reread it again soon. And The Tidal Zone, which is a fictional book about a young girl who is at school and her heart just stops, and then they have to go into sort of like investigations and things as to why this has happened. It's told from the stay-at-home dad's point of view, and oh, it's just wonderful. Blah blah blah. That's what those are about. This one sounds also exciting. It follows a teenage Sylvie and her parents who are living in Northumberland for an archaeological experiment, and as well as hearing from her father, who's a sort of like well-established person in the archaeological world. I believe he's referred to as like the prof or something. You also hear from so it follows Sylvie, but you also hear from the narrative of a young bog girl who was sacrificed by those closest to her, and the press release in this was very, very exciting. There's 2 things that excited me in this press release, so if you'll forgive me for reading these to you. The first one is a quote from Jessie Burton, who wrote The Miniaturist and The Muse. It says here, oh god, it sounds amazing: a portrait of male behaviour, subtle class warfare and the solidarity of women, part thriller, part adolescence awakening, part riot elegy to the natural world. It asks what we might sacrifice in public to solve a private wound. As soon as I'd finished, the only thing I wanted was to read it again. That sounds good and amazing. This bit as well. Ghost Wall is about the intoxication of power, cults and groupthink, nationalist myths, feminism and domestic violence, clever teenagers and northern Britain in the 90s. I'm so excited. The only thing I feel disappointed by, and you may not have seen when I was holding it, is that this is like less than 150 pages long. It's 152 pages long, but I am so pumped to see what this delivers. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. When is it out? 20th of September. Ah, exciting. The next one is a YA book, in fact. A publisher got in touch with me, a publisher that I hadn't heard of before, called Zuntold. And this is a publisher that aims literature at teenagers from diverse backgrounds. And this is called Jiddy Vardy, and it's about Ruth Estevez. It's set in 1779, and it's got Jiddy Vardy is at the helm of the book, and I say helm because it's set on a pirate ship. Which is very exciting. So it's sort of like a historical fiction coming of age YA novel thing, and yeah, it sounds like it's going to be pretty rolling. It's quite long as well. It's about 440 pages long. So yeah, sounds like it's going to be quite something. So yeah, keep an eye out for that publisher. This next one, she's excited about that. YA isn't something that I really feature, but backing on from that YA, this book, which is a big old beast of one, I am so pumped about this. This is A Winter's Promise by Christelle DeBoss. First of all, look at that cover. I mean, come on. This is Europa's lead release for the autumn. It is a YA fantasy novel translated from French, and I don't think, when Europa contacted me, I think they mentioned that they haven't ever released any YA books, and I can't remember ever seeing any YA books that Europa have released. This is the first in a quartet. The quartet is called The Mirror Visitor, and it follows Ophelia, who is a young girl. She's our protagonist, who's got a skill or a gift of being able to walk through mirrors. She gets, quite quickly, I think she gets told that she has to marry somebody that she's not keen on marrying. I've got it all here. She has to marry someone that she's not really that mad about marrying. She gets promised in a marriage to Thorn, who is a taciturn and influential member of a distant clan. Now listen to this. She leaves all she knows behind and follows her fiancé to Città Celeste, the capital of a cold, icy arc known as the Pole, where danger lurks around every corner and nobody can be trusted. So yeah, this was like, sorry to flop around with my papers. This is a really big deal in France, and like the third book of this series went to like the top of the bestsellers list in France, and I just, I'm very excited. I saw that Jean was reading this on Instagram stories, and I said, how are you getting on? I can't wait to start reading it. And she said, yes, it's very, very good. All that I'm worried about is that there's going to be a bit of a delay before they translate the next one. And I was like, oh no, I hadn't even thought about that in a delay. So yeah, so I'm really, really excited to read this. I think I'll probably read this in September. I'm very, very, very pumped for it. So yeah, it's just gorgeous and amazing. When's it out? When's it out? I think it might be out already. Let's find out. 27th of September. A lot of September releases here. A lot of September releases. Very excited. The next one I have is a proof copy of Why Women Have Better Sex Under Socialism and Other Arguments for Economic Independence by Kristin R. Godsey. This is a non-fiction book about how women enjoyed themselves and had a more sense of themselves under socialism. Christine herself was travelling in Germany when the Berlin Wall came down. She's lived in Bulgaria, she's lived in places that no longer exist, i.e. Yugoslavia, and things like that, and has seen first-hand and experienced what it was like to live both under socialism and under communism. And yeah, this is something like, I have no idea about things like this, guys. I did geography, so I feel like I've mentioned this recently, but like I didn't do politics at school. I stopped doing history when I was, how old was I? 14, because you got to pick between history and geography, and I picked geography because I was better at geography. So I don't do anything about history, so I really do not know much about the history of other places. Like basically I know the Industrial Revolution in the UK, that's all I know. So all of this stuff is new to me, and I'm excited to read this in an accessible. I read the author's note before I hauled this, and it says here that she draws on over 20 years of research and teaching to write an introductory primer for a general audience interested in European socialist feminist theories, the experience of 20th century socialism, and their lessons for the present day. So yeah, I mean, this, like, I feel like I'm going to learn a hell of a lot from this, and I've only read the author's note, but it feels pretty accessible already. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to that. The next one is one that I bought myself. I've recently watched a video from Lena. I think her channel is now just called Lena Norms. It used to be called Just Kiss My Frog, but I think it's just called Lena Norms. And she did a video about self-help books, and there was quite a few on there that I found very interesting, but this one I found particularly interesting, and it's called Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. And as I was watching that video, I was like, hello, and went online and ordered it straight away. This is a sort of a very accessible and sort of well published self-help book. It's in my head, traditional self-help books are sort of like bigger with like nice glossy photos and things like that, and this is all about getting some creativity in your life and being able to sort of get inspired by other people, and it talks about how how no idea is original anymore, and how you can take influences from other people. And I just thought, I'm forever looking for influences and ideas, and I like to think of myself as quite creative, something that I've accepted recently. When I was younger, creative meant like you were good at painting. And I'm not very good at painting. Creative meant you were good at painting, or you were you were skilled with a musical instrument. Both things I'm not very good at. But recently I've accepted my creativity as something that I am good at, and I just thought that this would be a very, very helpful book to look into that. So yes, very excited about getting to that, and probably will start that soon. And then one that arrived that I was very excited about, I had no idea it was coming, so thank you the lovely people at Serpent's Tail, and that is the lovely, this is probably one of the most beautiful books I've seen this year, Washington Black. I'm taking this off because this is all about it being longlisted for the Man Booker, by Essie Adugian. Look at, like, I feel like the beauty of this isn't even fully recognised over there. This is all gold. This is a lovely sort of like hot air balloon attached to somewhat of a boat. The end papers are just amazing. Before I even begin to tell you what's in here. So, this has been longlisted. Oh, I've got such itchy nose. This has been longlisted for the Man Booker Prize. It follows the title character, Washington Black. The sugar plantation that he is working on gets taken over by 2 English brothers. And off the back of that, he... one of those brothers is a naturalist, and he wants Washington to help him create a flying machine, which I imagine is this flying machine documented here. It sounds like it's set in so many different places. I feel so excited about this, and before I'd sort of received this, I hadn't even entertained the idea of reading this, and then as I just sat here, I've read the Q&A with the author, there she is, and it sounds bloody amazing. I've read the press release and it sounds bloody amazing. I've got this gorgeous thing that I'm going to put in one of my frames over there, and that's bloody amazing, and I just can't wait to read this. It just sounds like the last line in the blurb. It says, "This is the extraordinary tale of a world destroyed and the search to make it whole again." I can't wait to bloody read it. It sounds amazing. It sounds like it's going to be adventure-tastic. So yes, very, very excited about that. God, I just can't get over how gorgeous it is. So yes, I'm looking forward to reading that. Do I pop that back on? It took me a long time to get that on and off. Let's see if I can do it first time. No, I can't. And then the last lot are 3 books that I've received from Pan Macmillan. And the last, oh, that's dirty already where I've been cooking with it. Spoiler alert. The first one is a set of short stories by Alexia Arthurs, and this is How to Love a Jamaican. I've picked up, as I was looking through this, I haven't read any short stories for bloody ages, so I'm looking forward to reading some short stories. The first one is entitled Light Skinned Girls and Kelly Rowlands, and I started reading that straight away. And this is about, so it's a collection of short stories about Jamaican immigrants. I believe that Alexia herself now lives in the US. Yes, she lives in Iowa City. And yeah, it's a background, it's a collection of short stories about Jamaican immigrants, so yeah, and their families back home. So it says, sweeping from close-knit island communities to the streets of New York City and Midwestern university towns, these 11 stories form a portrait of a nation, a people, and a way of life. So it sounds like that is going to be good. And I really enjoyed the style of the first story straight away. The next one is one that isn't out until next year. I think this is the first book I've received that isn't out until next year. This is out on the 10th of January. And this is called Just Eat It. This is a proof copy, so it doesn't say it on the front, although it has got a donut on the front. I had a lovely donut yesterday. David's found a different way to walk to the bus stop from his place of work. And he walks past the donut time. Oh, we had some lovely donuts from there. This is called Just Eat It. It's by Laura Thomas, who is a nutritionalist, and it is about relationships with food and why and how that's sort of gone to shit in the past sort of few years, particularly focusing on Instagram and diet culture and things like that. I feel like this could go 2 ways for me. It could go, it could be a very positive book. I also feel like it could be a book that I don't know how into the nutritionalist, this is what you should be eating side of thing. In a book called Just Eat It, I like to think there's probably not that much telling you what you should be eating. But yeah, I feel like I'm willing to give this a go. Again, I've just sat here and read like the first few pages, and it sounds very involved and like it's going to involve you. So it opens with a question: what do you want to eat? Close your eyes for a second and just let that question sit with you. What did you pick out? If you're wondering, I ate the ends of my donut from yesterday. So yeah, looking forward to that as well. And then the last one is also linked into food, and it's a book that I think I mentioned in my lovely chat video, which was out on Wednesday. Oh, God, I had a right old frown on there. I really looked at my dad. I looked at myself in the viewfinder. And this is a cookbook called Cooking on a Bootstrap by Jack Monroe. Jack is a cook that I have a lot of her books. I'm very fond of Jack's cookery. And this is all about cooking on a budget, basically. I have made a video about this book for Book Break. The video is not out yet. When it is out, I will link it down below. So if you're watching this in 2026, there is a chance that that video is already out, so I'll link it down below. But yeah, keep an eye on the Book Break channel for my video on this, because I spent a day cooking on a bootstrap, which I very much enjoyed, and I would definitely recommend this cookbook. So those are the books that I've recently got my hands on in the month of August. What have you guys got your little mitts on? Have you got any books that you're looking forward to coming out in September? Seems to be quite a lot of September releases. Yeah, I would love to hear what books of these you're excited about, what books in general you're excited about. Oh, I tell you a good book that's out next month, which I've got to read the first one first, and it's the second in the Nevermore trilogy series. Excited. I haven't even read the first one and I'm excited about the second one. that's it from me. I will see you all again soon for another booktube video. Goodbye.